these people?
Real-life spies.
Why would they care about me?
Because you're a goddamn fortune teller, Ellie.
It's time for you to see the world. There's gonna be some changes made.
Hello and welcome to this week's film show. I'm joined, as always, by our critic Lisa Nesselson to take us through some of the big releases. And we're starting with British director Jonathan Glazer's award-winning film, The Zone of Interest. It's adapted from a novel by the late Martin Amis about the family of the director of Auschwitz death camp happily living their lives right next door. It's been praised for the way it expresses horror without ever actually showing it. Andy Hilliar tells us more and takes a look at some other cinematic depictions of the Holocaust.
The film was almost called A Garden in Hell. It shows the day-to-day life of a Nazi family whose father runs the Auschwitz extermination camp, located right next to the family home.
Das hier ist die Mauer vom Lager. Ja, das ist die Lagermauer. Also da haben wir auch noch Wein gepflanzt, damit das zuwächst, damit man das nicht mehr so sieht.
The film decries the banality of evil. At a preview screening in Paris, its two leading actors said it was a wake-up call for young people.
And I hope you have really intensive conversations after the film.
The people who survived it are slowly not there anymore. So I think especially young people sometimes really don't know what this is about, and we really have to tell them. And I think it's more important than ever to talk about the history.
But how can the memory of the Shoah, which means catastrophe in Hebrew, be passed down to future generations? Filmmakers have been asking that question ever since the discovery of the concentration camps. Several documentaries have left their mark, like Night and Fog by Alain Resnais in 1956 and Shoah in 1985. A landmark work by Claude Lanzmann, which brings together 9 hours of testimony from survivors of the camps.
On ne comprend pas comment un homme puisse faire ça à un autre être humain.
In the realm of fiction, the series Holocaust and two films have stirred controversy: Schindler's List and Life is Beautiful. In 1993, Steven Spielberg's film broke a taboo by putting the final solution on the big screen for the first time.
La caméra prend place dans une chambre à gaz.
The camera films inside a gas chamber. And inside this gas chamber, there isn't actually any gas. It's a shower. So Spielberg's film refocused the debate surrounding the representation of the concentration camps in the cinema.
For some, it was too much. Shoah's director, Claude Lanzmann, said creating fictional drama from non-fictional horror was obscene.
Even the idea of fiction is based on making something fit for consumption, so to speak, when it absolutely isn't.
But Jonathan Glazer's film treads a fine line, making allusions to the Holocaust without ever showing it.
Lisa, an interesting debate there about depicting the Holocaust. Is The Zone of Interest as powerful as it sounds?
Well, this was my personal choice for the Palme d'Or in Cannes last May, where it received second prize. If we have to compare, I think it's superior to Justine Trier's Anatomy of a Fall, which just received 5 Oscar nominations. Glazer's film also has 5 Oscar nominations. Glazer has only made 4 films in a little over 20 years, and each one is unsettling and riveting. I especially like his previous film, Under the Skin, starring Scarlett Johansson as a slinky alien who lands in Scotland, and she literally eats men.
And Glazer has said that with Zone of Interest, he wants to make us think about our similarity to the perpetrators. It seems like the further away from the Holocaust we get, the more important movies like this become.
Well, the percentage of people who don't believe the Holocaust ever took place is terrifyingly high. And I agree, it is hard to believe that Hitler's warped and lethal ideology resulted in the extermination of a minimum of 6 million supposedly undesirable people, most of them Jews, but it is essential that the Shoah be understood as a history that did take place. Now, this film hints at how mass murder on an industrial scale could just seem like an assigned task like any other, with logistics to take into account for maximum efficiency and perks for a job well done. French TV, to its credit, just programmed Claude Lanzmann's irrefutable documentary Shoah. You saw him objecting to Spielberg there. It lasts over 9 hours in 2 parts, and one can watch it free of charge through the end of February on France.tv.
And The Zone of Interest was also made, Lisa, under unusual technical conditions. Tell us more about that.
Well, the actors moved around the family house playing their roles before 10 hidden cameras. They never knew whether they were being filmed or from what angle. In addition to that, there were 60 microphones strategically scattered around the set, and this infused daily activities with a sort of tension that I think viewers could feel. I grew up in a neighborhood in Chicago where many older residents had visible numbers tattooed on their arms, meaning they had survived the Nazi camps. There's a joke in Jewish families that the history of the Jewish people can be summarized in 3 short sentences. They tried to kill us off, they failed, let's eat.
Humor, of course, key to dealing with trauma. Lisa, we're going to make a shift in tone now from the deadly serious to the frivolous. Matthew Vaughn, who directed the Kingsman spy series, is back this week with Argylle. It stars Henry Cavill alongside Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, and pop star Dua Lipa making her cinema debut. Lisa, what's this $200 million caper all about?
That's not so much. The pitch goes like this. Howard plays an introverted spy novelist named Ellie Conway, who gets caught up with a real-world underground syndicate, putting her right in the thick of a similar story to the ones she normally only writes.
Well, the cast and crew were in London for the film's premiere. Here's what Dua Lipa, Samuel Jackson, and John Cena had to say about working on the film.
I certainly hope you dance as well as you dress.
There's only one way to find out.
I didn't take much convincing, honestly. I'm such a fan of Matthew Vaughn's work. So when I got the call, I was definitely surprised, but I was very excited. You and I, we're not so different. Agent Argylle.
Little help? Hold on.
It's really female-centric, you know, amazingly, and they're gonna love it, so come see it.
The book is phenomenal, sweetie, but
What happens next? It's called a cliffhanger, Mother.
Check everything else, all your problems at the door. Come into the theater to see Argylle to be entertained.
It's time for you to meet the real Agent Argylle.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
my.
I like seeing Catherine O'Hara making an appearance there also as the mother. Now, Lisa, there's an internet-fueled aura of mystery surrounding this movie because the book the screenplay is based on was supposedly written by one Ellie Conway, which is the name of the fictional screen character. But many say that the real Ellie Conway doesn't actually exist.
Well, you know, there are occasionally movies that don't seem to have been written by anything human, but I doubt this is one of them. The official response is, no, of course, Ms. Conway is a real person who really exists and who really wrote this. It's just that she's really shy. That's possible. It could also be a marketing ploy.
I think that seems likely because this has generated quite a lot of buzz. There are rumors flying around, including that it could be Taylor Swift. I think it might also turn out to just be artificial intelligence. So who knows? We'll find out, hopefully, in the coming months. Lisa, finally, a new film adaptation of The Color Purple is out in France and elsewhere. Tell us about that.
Well, The Color Purple started its creative life back in 1982 as a Pulitzer Prize-winning epistolary novel by Alice Walker. Steven Spielberg, a straight white Jewish male with no firsthand knowledge of the lives of poor blacks or presumably lesbian urges, but with a gift for storytelling, made a slightly awkward film version in 1985. I was stunned a few years ago to read an article about what today's non-white creative people cite as major influences, and it was Spielberg's take on The Color Purple that came up more than anything else. So that flawed film has spurred many people to go out and create their own stories. Interestingly, the 1985 film received 11 Oscar nominations and apparently holds the record for most nominations without a win. The current one has one Oscar nomination for Danielle Brooks as Best Supporting Actress for playing Sophia, who she also played on Broadway. Yes, Broadway. In 2005, The Color Purple was turned into a successful Broadway musical, which has toured the world. And now that stage musical has been made into a big screen musical directed by Blitz Bazawule, originally from Ghana. I haven't seen it for myself, but the reviews seem to land mostly between it isn't terrible and it's rather good.
Yeah, and I'm interested to hear some of the music as well. Also worth noting that Oprah, who played Sophia in the original film, is one of the co-producers of this version, as is Steven Spielberg. We'll leave you all with a look at The Color Purple. Lisa, thank you so much as always. Thanks to all of you for watching. There's news coming up on France 24 right after this.
Dear Seeley, we are more than just kings and queens. We are at the center of the universe.
Oh, yes, I am.